This video is part of a series of videos focusing on the character relationship moments on screen between Yaz and the 13th Doctor. If you'd like to start at the beginning, click the link in the corner. Otherwise, welcome to the next video. In Season 12, Episode 7, each of the companions deals with aspects of their lives that they left behind on Earth. For Ryan, he is navigating not being around his friends, and how he is changing at a different rate than them. For Graham, his concerns revolve around the return of his cancer and not doing right by Grace in Season 11, Episode 1. But for Yaz, this episode is much more personal. The memories she revisits are from a time when life wasn't good, when things got so bad that she ran away from home and was about to do something that you can never come back from. A theme of mental illness is woven throughout this episode.
I've travelled a long way, seen a lot of things I wish I hadn't. My family were killed when I was 7. I ran. Aleppo was safety for me. They let me in here because I wasn't doing well.
I promise to keep you safe. We will work this out.
Tyra has found safety and support at the Bimaristan, a hospital in ancient Aleppo.
Bimaristan means sick place. This must be one of the oldest hospitals in the world. Of course, Islamic physicians were known for the enlightened way they treated people with mental health problems.
But her childhood trauma also has her acting out from this point of safety.
Let me back in.
How did you get out there?
See your friend. Let's say friend. We're not that close. Please, let me back in.
You can't keep stealing from merchants in the souk. They know where you're from.
You tell me creating happiness is important to my mental well-being. A game like this makes me happy.
Tyra's specific mental health issues are never explicitly named, but losing her family at a young age and having to fend for herself have clearly made life challenging for her. Similarly, Ryan's friend Thibault is going through some difficult times, more specifically identified as aspects of depression.
I get down, and I shut myself off. And it's like I'm paralyzed with it. For days, weeks, it's in control of me.
For Yaz, everything points back to a moment 3 years earlier. These moments are presented through dreams, so we should assume that what we are seeing in those dream moments are not 100% literal representations of the actual events that happened. They are dream-modified, dream interpretations of emotional moments. For example, this moment probably didn't occur on a rural street, and it probably wasn't a straightforward conversation as we see presented on screen. The actual trauma is not shown literally. The emotional journey and resolution to the trauma is what we get to see in Yaz's dream. This is her mind processing and dealing with that difficult moment. 3 years later, she still has a lot of processing work to do. Let's look at what clues we are given.
Hi. I didn't know who to call. We need help.
Sonia makes the call to the police because something serious is happening.
Do it right this time.
What was it that Yaz didn't do right? And why is she telling herself this now in her dream?
I won't be calling anyone.
Sonia isn't going to send for help in this version of events, allowing Yaz to do what she couldn't do before.
Nobody's coming yet. You're alone in the dark.
These words of Sonia's are an expression of Yaz's mental state at the time of the event and represent struggles that she still navigates.
I've heard things are tough. Getting bullied at school. Grades have gone a bit wonky.
The police officer is referencing a reveal by Yaz about Izzy Flint in Season 11.
When Izzy Flint turned the whole class against me, every day I'd wake up feeling this. Dread. I just took it. Had the year from hell.
In these new sequences in Can You Hear Me, we see that Yaz actually reacted to the situation, even though she previously said that she just dealt with it all year. Clearly, she almost did something more.
Parents don't get what's up. You must be feeling pretty trapped and alone. People are worried about you.
No, they're not.
Your sister is.
I suspect that the comment about parents not understanding is more significant than it looks. I'll come back to that shortly.
That's why she called us. She's worried you've left and are going to do something stupid.
All these moments begin to point to something more than just running away from home, something more than just depression. I suspect they are referring to either an actual suicide attempt or Yaz was about to do something that would lead to a similar end result before the police officer caught up with her.
Sonia, we can stop doing this. Stop marking it.
Yaz and Sonia are revisiting this time and moment, making it an anniversary. Running away from home usually isn't the kind of thing that warrants an annual reminder. People typically do that for the day they got sober, or the day they got clean from substance use, or the day they survived a suicide attempt.
I still think about it. Do you?
I dream about it sometimes.
This event must be much bigger than it is presented on screen. It still lingers with both of them, still haunts them. Attempted suicide by Yaz, and for Sonia almost losing her sister, those are the kinds of moments that would persist.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Nomak.
This greeting that they have, different ways of calling the other insignificant, it's also a delivery of familial affection, taking power away from the words themselves. By making them routine and insignificant rather than delivering them as a personal attack, they are reinforcing hope of preventing self-doubt from taking control again. Mandip Gill has mentioned in interviews that Yaz's past mental health issues were going to affect some of her decisions in the following season, season 13. In this episode, we see her past where she grapples with depression, low self-esteem, and a potential attempted suicide. We also see the ramifications of those issues still manifesting in the present day. But to make those moments flow into decisions she will make in season 13, we might have to consider another layer to Yaz's past and her year of hell.
When Izzy Flint turned the whole class against me, every day I'd wake up feeling this. Dread. I just took it. Had the year from hell.
Why did Izzy Flint turn the whole class against her? Was it something about her behavior? Did she reveal thoughts about her identity or her sexual orientation? What could have given Izzy Flint the fodder to come after her and to get an entire group of people to join her in a year of bullying? Yaz's parents don't understand. Her mother is still trying to figure out her daughter. If the bullying and Yaz's reaction to it were related to her sexual orientation, that could explain her repression of any interest in others, particularly of her true feelings for the 13th Doctor, and why when Dan calls on her to admit it, she says,
I've never told anyone. Not even myself.
With so many possibilities here, depression, running away from home, being bullied, attempted suicide, not having a safe space to express her orientation or identity at school or at home, we have one more layer to add to the mix. Does Yaz actually occupy space on the neurodivergent spectrum? More to come on part 2 of this episode, Can You Hear Me? Because there's still a lot to talk about. To be continued. As a creative team, the writers, directors, designers, and performers have to consider how to best present these kind of moments. Giving us a more literal memory of a suicide attempt would have become so much heavier and taken Doctor Who in a direction that maybe it and the audience don't want to go. But err too far on the side of something more abstract and it might go over the audience's head. I suspect this interpretation of Yaz's mental break lives in a more vague suggestion world, and only a handful of the audience might recognize it as memory and dream-influenced markers of a failed suicide attempt. The 12th Doctor's second episode got a lot of flack for poor presentation of the micro-level design of the insides of the damaged Dalek. The sets were dismissed as silly and low budget. But like presenting Yaz's moment of crisis in a memory dream, presenting a macro view of a micro-environment is a realistic challenge that may be unachievable. Classic Who faced this challenge more than once, with the 4th Doctor and Leela both being shrunk down to go inside a brain and navigate that inner microscopic world. The 3rd Doctor and Jo Grant also found themselves miniaturized and inside the mechanics of the miniscope in the Carnival of Monsters. In these examples, I am much more forgiving of the presentation on screen because of the impossible task of actually representing those environments faithfully, even with modern CGI options. Sometimes the theatrical and abstract presentations are more effective than the literal ones. Likewise, I am more forgiving of an unclear presentation of dreamscape memories of a life-changing moment from Yaz's past. Would a more ethereal visual effect overlaid on the dream sequences have better communicated that we were seeing an altered state of reality? Maybe. Would it have been able to more effectively communicate the specifics of the past moment, especially if it was an unsuccessful suicide attempt? I highly doubt it. So I am good with what we got on screen. I'll see you next time as we continue to parse out relationship moments between Yaz and the 13th Doctor in the following episodes. Click the link in the corner for the next video, or find links in the description to all parts of the series.